Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I have a few more clips for you from live from the vault. But first, let's do baseball because I know the games are starting pretty soon, probably by 1:30, 1:40. So that's about a half hour you have. Let's go through those. Atlanta over 10, Tampa Bay. The New York Jets under 7 is a lock. Chicago over 8.5. KC under 9, Milwaukee under 8.5, St. Louis under 8.5, Texas over 8.5, Houston over 8, the Chargers under 7.5, Colorado over 9 is the second lock, and the Yankees, I'm going to go over 9. Keep in mind, these are based on the pitchers. That's why sometimes they're over, sometimes they're under. But I do watch, like yesterday, where I had a team that should have went over, like Philadelphia. I have over 8.5. The game's like 1-0 or 2-1. And I'm going, what did I miss here? And I'm looking, and both pitchers are like 5 ERAs. And I'm going, okay, it's just an anomaly where the terrible pitcher pitches a shutout. So let's recap yesterday's. Detroit over 8.5, over 8 pushes. I don't know how it pushes in baseball. I really haven't bet it in a while. So if the tie, I would assume is a tie. Philly over 8.5 is a loser. Baltimore's a winner. Texas under 8's a loser. Houston surprisingly loses to Oakland. Cleveland over 9 a winner. Milwaukee over 7.5 is a loser. The lock, Atlanta, winner. Tampa Bay over 9, winner. The Mets over 7.5, winner. Colorado over 9, winner. Yankees over 9.5. Excuse me. Yankees over 9.5, winner. Frisco under 7, winner. Seattle under 7.5, winner. And the Dodgers, winner. So got rolling there in the second half. So I go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 4 with the push on the Detroit game. So, again, I'm looking at the pitcher. Now, one thing I'll note, I had Milwaukee over 7.5. They didn't get there. So today I go, well, they're not hitting because they should have gotten a lot of runs against the weak pitcher. So today it's a better pitcher. I'm going under the 8.5 based on Milwaukee not hitting. Again, like you'll see a team get hot, right? And they start scoring, and then they get shut out. And you're like, well, oh, they faced a good pitcher. And, in Detroit, I'm so tired of hearing, they'll play 3 lousy pitchers and they win. Oh, they're back. And then they played Johnny Curto yesterday and they get shut out. And you're like, yeah, that's the real team against the real pitcher. So that's what happens. So, again, we're betting the pitchers. Verlander's gold, McCullough's gold. You get a couple of aces. And if they don't win, they at least – it's a 2-1 game. It's a 3-1 game. Very rarely is a Verlander gonna be in an over game if he's playing another ace or another 3.0, 3.5 pitcher. If it's Verlander against a 3.5, you're betting it under every time because there's not going to be a lot of runs. You're not going to score a lot on Verlander. There's occasionally a team that has his number, but basically you're not scoring a lot on him. And so that's what you're looking at. You're trying to pin it. I think if you beat Verlander, you're going to beat the next guy. And if you get shut out by the 5th pitcher, which is like Philly and the Cardinals, they're playing. They weren't playing the aces or the 2s. They were playing the terrible pitchers, and they scored 3 runs. What does that tell you? Today I got Philly under. Were they playing St. Louis? I got St. Louis under. I got St. Louis under 8.5 because they didn't score against the weaker pitchers. Means they're not going to score against better pitchers or the same type of pitchers. And that's one thing I'm noticing. These bullpen pitchers, I don't know what to do with. Again, when the game gets to the bullpen, sometimes I'm looking at bullpens, which the ERAs are 5s and 6s, and they pitch the 1 inning and they shut them out, and then the next guy comes in, shuts them out. and you're not getting the back runs. And then, like the Yankees Boston yesterday, you got the runs in the later innings. So it's average. It's again just bet smart. The locks maybe bet a little bit more on. So the locks today: the Jets under 7, Colorado over 9. One more time: Atlanta over 10, Tampa, the Jets under 7. Chicago over 8.5. That would be the White Sox. KC under 9. Milwaukee under 8.5. St. Louis under 8.5. Texas over 8.5. Houston over 8. LA. San Diego under 7.5. Lock. Colorado over. And the Yankees over 9. That's your night game. A lot of these are, you got a handful at 1:30, 1:40, 2 o'clock, and you got some 4:30. All right. Now back to our gold topic. So I had a few people wanting that article on JP Morgan being convicted. And then I gave you live from the Vault 81, and I'm going to give you a few more quotes from that show. Sorry. So let's start with this one. This is turn.
And until that system gets exposed and comes down, that's where you're not going to get the true.
Okay, video one. There's about 3 videos.
It helps to pay attention to the fundamentals more than it does the spot price, for example. The spot price is a fabricated price that means absolutely nothing. All it is the price is there for the banks to make money on against its own market, against the trader. That's why it's there.
Yeah, and I think that this is where the deliverable
Money for it. They were admitting it was institutionalized, that they're ring-fencing a price, and it's not about transparency of the market, it's about making money. And it's about setting the price in a way in which you can make money. And until that system gets exposed and comes down, that's where you're not going to get the true price discovery markets that people really want. And that's why, if you're a metals investor, it really helps to pay attention to the fundamentals more than it does the spot price, for example. The spot price is a fabricated price that means absolutely nothing. All it is the price is there for the banks to make money on against its own market, against the trader. That's why it's there.
yeah, I think that this is where the deliverable
They were admitting it was institutionalized.
I don't know. Okay. So what he's saying is the price is fixed. This is what I'm saying is don't pay attention to the derivative price. So when you see $17.50 for gold, he's saying it's not a real price. It's just there for the banks. So the banks are playing with themselves and making money. And that's why it's not a real price. So don't pay attention to it. All right, let's go to another video.
It lacks true audit capability, it lacks true oversight, and it lacks true penalty making ability for people if there's no thesis. And so you can't assume, just because there is a market and a regulator, that everything's up to oil. You have to really dive down and understand how the markets work. And like you said, people are going around. You have sovereigns going around the Western markets. Mm-hmm. You have refiners going around the Western markets. And now you have precious metals dealers. For example, 2 of my friends have started a business with 5,000-ounce silver bars off of one of the deposits. I got them physically delivered to the deposit to my home.
So what he's saying is,
And they'll either cut the bars and melt them and sell.
what he's saying is they're trying to go around the market, which was my point about let's use physical, not the COMEX. So what he's saying is we're going to go around the market. We're not going to listen to COMEX, and we're going to use different people to get our gold and silver and get the price normal. So he's going against COMEX, and that's what we need is physical.
Straight off of the COMEX, either the 1,000-ounce bars or a smaller 3-quart bar to give people access to that silver. So and what they're doing is they're skipping the supply chain. They're going directly to the largest source they can. They're pulling it off. They're redistributing it. And there are all sorts of these types of things going on because people have realized if you're just in that system, your ability to gain visibility you needed or get good pricing, you can't. And so everybody's building these bridges around, and these roads around the Western derivative complex in precious metals. And whenever that happens, it's akin to de-dollarization. When people stop using the dollar falls, right? We see that with China, Russia, and the BRIC nations, the Belt and Road. Well, the same thing has been done to the precious metals market. People are moving around the existing system and building new pathways and new trade routes and new agreements. And it's being done organically. And it's not something that they can control. So the control will erode over these derivative markets when people stop trading them, and that's what's happening.
Okay, so did you catch that? When people don't want the U.S. dollar, it will stop trading, which is what I've been saying. So in other words, all the BRICS nations, Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, aren't going to trade in it because once they don't want it, there's no value. And that's what they're doing with gold and silver. They're going around COMEX and they're creating their own market. And once they don't want COMEX, they're going to stop using it, which is that's what I say is gold's going to be 50,000 an ounce. Because once we get away from the derivatives and the banks, he's saying there's major banks, there's JP Morgan, Chase, Deutsche Bank, and I think Scotia Bank, and they control it. Well, they're all going to go broke. So if you have money in JP Morgan or Morgan Chase Bank, just sell it because it's going to zero. Because they can't afford these derivatives. And that's what's happening is they're dumping the margin call movie is being played out for real. Well, again, in the gold derivative market. So we'll see a movie, Margin Call 2, the Wrath of Gold or something. So that's what's happening. So when the BRICS nations go around the dollar and they don't want it, there's no value because it only has value if you want it. So I can only sell my Canadian Club whiskey if somebody's willing to buy it. If it's on the shelf and nobody buys it, I can't sell it. And the price drops from 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 until there's buyers. And this is why I keep saying when you go to the grocery store, or the store, I want ribs and they're $15. They used to be 10, they used to be 5. And I say I'm not going to pay 15. If nobody would pay 15, they would have to lower the price on ribs because they can't sell them. The market says no. See, we control everything, but we don't realize. I realize it, and you realize it because I teach you, but they don't realize it. So they've got to realize it that, again, if the market says no, and there's no demand for the dollar, and there's no demand for derivative gold and silver, then that's when it goes out. All right, I got another video. I got 2 more.
When there's a run, when this thing finally breaks, and it will, when it does during the next deep recession, there's going to be a run to metals, but the metal's not going to be there because it's not in these traditional derivative markets or the traditional supply chain. It's going to be in these other methods that people are building right now to build a freer, more democratic precious metals market. And I think it helps people to be aware of that. Going to be there. You're going to have developed alternative relationships to actually get access to those. When there's a run, when this thing finally breaks, and it will.
Okay, so what have I been saying? When it finally people start waking up and want it, you're not going to get it. This is why I push buy it now at this price. I just bought 20 ounces of silver yesterday after our show. Went to my coin guy. He had 8 ounces of silver, 3 maple leaves, 2 Cougarans, and 3 eagles, all ounces. And then he had he had 22 silver eagles left. That was it. He normally creates his own bullion or these, buffalo heads or whatever. Nothing. There was nothing there. I got 20 of the 22 eagles at $35 an ounce. He was still $35 an ounce, even though Comex said 19 or whatever. So he didn't even come down like you'd have thought he'd have come down to 30. No, he stays at 35 because I talk to him and say, you're giving it away. And when I walk in the store, the guy goes, oh, price is high today. And I just started laughing. I go, 35 is not high. When we hit 2,000, then the price is at where it should be at. So it's not high. So let me give you the last video. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. When it busts loose, and it will, there's not going to be any huge demand, low supply. What's going to happen? Price will go through the freaking roof, which is what I keep telling you about. That's what we're teaching. When people want something. So on the other hand, if I want Canadian Club whiskey and I want this 12 and I can't find it, or there's only a few bottles left, I'm going to pay more because I want to have it. So I'll forget $50. I'll pay $100 because I really want it. And that's what's going to happen in gold. You just want the ounce because the dollar is worthless. Nobody wants the US dollar. So it's worthless. So therefore, you'll pay whatever for the ounce of gold. And I'm telling you to buy it now you could have bought the Cougar Inn or the Maple Leaf yesterday in my guy's store for $18.20, $18.60 for the Eagle. And I guarantee you're never going to find it there again because this is the dump of JP Morgan. They're dumping all their derivatives, lowering the price. Now, what we just heard these guys say is forget the price. It's not real. Well, then why is my guy selling it 100 over the prior 60? The Eagle's 100, but the Maple Leaf and the Cougar Inn are like 50 or 60 over. And you just, whatever it is, 50, 60 over, 100 over. And so that's why I buy the Maple Leaf and the Cougar Inn. Why pay $40 more when all I care about is buying gold? So he's sitting there. You'll never find him again. And then soon you won't be able to find him because most of the gold's in China and Russia and India right now. There's very little left in the U.S. And as you heard him say, most Americans don't have any gold. I mean, so that's what I'm doing is let's buy because what he's saying is there's an Indian guy who's a farmer who has 1,000 ounces of gold because he collects gold. And he says he's going to be a multimillionaire and everybody here is going to be broke because most of the people here, except for us, are going to have US dollars or stocks in Microsoft or the bonds or whatever the hell they bought that's going to be worthless. And we're going to be sitting there. We'll have some gold and silver. We'll be okay. But the Indian farmer is going to be a multimillionaire because that's what they do. They collect a lot of gold, even though it doesn't have value. So, all right, last video.
They did not own some 14 page really disappointed us in baseball, and we're lucky if they have us available.
Wow. I mean, so this is made, and we're at a reflection point, and I think you just mentioned, with also the bricks, currency basket. I think one of the interesting things about that, and is that silver, even though it's a tiny market, is probably the most undervalued commodity on the planet Earth. And when it is going to be a component of many, many things that comprise of this basket, many commodities, etc. But silver, being so undervalued, is going to be a lot higher up on the list than it should be. Because it's just so undervalued. And the buying of people will take this, will break this greatness of it completely. People will come to the SOP for delivery and they won't get it. It just won't be there. There's no way it's going to be there at that price, at whatever the price of it is. They've played that game before, but they'll lose control. But I think one of the interesting things was you talked about the four market makers and the ACC with it. And I think let's just talk, maybe finish up
All right, sorry for the poor quality. But what he's saying is with the Briggs coming out, and Briggs is Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, they're gonna have a basket. So they're smart enough. They don't want to print the dollars, right? They're going to have dollars that are backed by gold and silver and stuff like that. And he's saying silver's so undervalued that it's going to be really high up on there, which is going to make the price go through the roof. And then he says, so if you own it in an ETF, SLV, or in or your IRA, you think, oh, I got gold and silver. You don't. You're going to go there, and there's not going to be any. You only get it with physical, and that's what I keep trying to pound into you. Is you must buy the coins, and I think most people in our family get it. And it's so cheap. All right, I paid $35 for the Eagle because they're catching on that it's way undervalued. But even if you get like a round, a Buffalo or something, or a Canadian Maple Leaf, I think you can get for 28, 29. What he's saying is it's so undervalued that you're going to go get it, and it's going to be a run because it's so cheap, and there isn't any. So that's the thing. And like my store, he has like the silver bars, and he melts them down and makes his own coins, which he is licensed and legal to do. But it's not like the Eagles would come from the U.S. Mint. But as long as it's certified and it's 1 ounce of silver on it, which he puts on it, and he's a licensed dealer. If I go to the guy's store, or you call the guy's store that I gave you the number, and if you need the number again, I can give it to you. You're getting real silver, even though it's not currency. It's not money per se. It's not silver that's worth $1. Well, it's worth $1, but we know it's not worth $1. It's worth much more. So you buy it now for, let's say, 30, it's going to be 2,000 an ounce. I mean, 5,000, 10,000 for gold, and 2,000, 1,000 for silver. So I can buy a silver coin that's $1,000 for 27. So it's like I was telling my friend, I bought 20 just because I'm saving money to buy gold because I get paid next week. I'm going to buy gold. And then I keep debating about selling more of my IRA because I don't have stock now because the market's going to crash. So why would I want to be in stock? And maybe taking more money out and buying another 5-10 ounces of gold, especially at this price. So it's coming soon, not later. But this is what's been holding up. These 4 banks have been holding the price down. And even though they showed it to the Department of Justice, they didn't do anything because it's corrupt. Again, Soros and the Nazis holding it down to buy more. Now they're at the point where I think they want the price to go up, these JP Morgan guys. And then what we're doing is what I said, which is to get rid of the damn COMEX and go around it. Go to the free market. Go to the Canadian. I want the damn physical. I don't want a paper that says I own Canadian Club whiskey. And that's what's happening. And that's what he meant by building bridges. So once you got the go around from COMEX, then you're going to get true value. And we all know the true value of gold is 10,000, and the true value of silver is at least 2,000. Once people realize I got to get out of dollars, I got to buy gold and silver, and I don't care how much it costs, I need gold and silver because these dollars I'm going to wallpaper the house and light my cigars with them. That's when it really goes to 40, 50,000. And that's what I'm talking about. So it's going to go, and then people are going to realize the dollar's no good because of Briggs with this basket of gold and silver backing the dollar, giving it value versus our piece of crap paper. Nobody wants the dollar, value drops. There we go. All right, let me quickly give you baseball again. I noticed a few family members have joined, so get a chance. Atlanta over 10. Tampa Bay. The Jets under 7 is a lock. Chicago over 8.5. I believe that's the White Sox. Yeah, they're playing the Tigers. Kansas City under 9. They played an under yesterday against a good pitcher, so I think it'll stay under. Milwaukee under 8.5. The St. Louis under 8.5. They played a 2-1 game with the 5 pitchers going on. So they're obviously not hitting. Texas over 8.5. Houston over 8. The Dodgers straight up. San Diego under 7.5. The second lock, Colorado over 9. That's later this afternoon. And the Yankees tonight is over 9 just because Boston, and they both can hit the ball. They got pretty good pitchers going, Pavetta and a good pitcher on the Yankees. The Yankees have 4 really strong pitchers, but they seem to get a lot of runs and they seem to score a lot. So I was worried yesterday. What was I? Yankees over 9.5, and it was 6th inning, and I'm not going to get there. And it ended up at like 13-14. So again, in Boston, look out over 9. It's probably that could be a lock also. I haven't locked it, but I'd bet that's strong, especially if the Jets under 7 win and Colorado over 9 wins before. I would bet a good amount on the Yankees over 9. Those are the baseball games for today. I went through my college football, and one team I noticed is Louisiana Tech. So what I do is I go, okay, do they have the returning quarterback or is it a new one? And then what I'm noticing is there's a lot of transfers. This guy came from SMU. This guy came from Florida, wherever. We made a lot of money a few years ago with Will Greer, who transferred from Florida to West Virginia. We pounded that mother over every week, and we won almost, I think, every week, or a good portion of them. So you watch the transfer quarterbacks. There's a few that I'm noticing, but then I'm looking at coaches. Okay, Ohio State is coming, Michigan, Harbaugh's back, Alabama, yeah. And then I get to Louisiana Tech. New quarterback, but he came from somewhere else. Then I got a new coach. The new coach was a coach under Mike Leach at Texas Tech, and he runs the air raid. Well, what do you think is going to happen there? All right, 100 points a game. So let's keep an eye on what Vegas has for us on Louisiana Tech games, especially against teams without a good defense. How do we know that? Because we keep the stats. And what do the stats say? When we play a team who gives up 35 a game or anything over 30, and we got Louisiana Tech, if they don't have a quarterback, we're betting Louisiana Tech. If they do, we're betting over because Louisiana Tech still doesn't have a defense. This is like Miami of Florida. It's a good over team running a good system. Now, provided the quarterback knows what he's doing, and that's when we'll look at the box scores the first few weeks. Louisiana Tech, week 1, we'll probably bet them over unless it's 70. And we'll see how Vegas does it. If they use last year's numbers and it's 48, we're going to be locking Louisiana Tech over. I think it'll take them a few weeks to catch on. We'll see. And then it depends who they play. We want them against Rice, a team with no defense or anything. Hi, James. Do you play first 5 innings in basketball? I assume baseball. No, but if you want to play it with Verlander and McCullough, no, I understood, James. Play it with Verlander, McCullough with the aces, but I don't really look at that line. I look at the full game line like I do with football. People, do you bet the first half? I look at the whole game in football because I can pick that. Picking the first half is really, it's tough because of turnovers, right? So you have a turnover. New England, Brady turns the ball over a few times. Now he's at Tampa, let's say. So we know Brady is going to win the game. They're playing the Lions. We know they're going to win the game, but let's say he has a few turnovers because they're all sleeping because they're laughing because they're playing the Lions. And the Lions actually can cover the first half. That pisses him off. I would rather bet second halves than first halves because then I get a picture of what's going on. If Tampa's down 14 points, you know they're going to win the game. Then you bet Tampa, or you bet Green Bay, Rodgers, or you bet Montana, or you bet whoever in the second. So what happened in the first? Because the teams against the weaker teams don't really, I'm not going to say no, they don't try, but they're not as intense as if Green Bay and Tampa Bay are playing and Rodgers and Brady, that's pretty intense. You're going to start off pretty freaking intense. When they're playing the Lions, either Green Bay against the Lions, they're laugh. It's the Lions. We'll beat them. And so they'll beat them for the whole game. So that's why it's hard to play 5 innings. But if you do play 5 innings, it's almost the same as me playing the whole game. And so what I'd look at is find the aces, which is by ERA. And I got a list of aces somewhere around here. Okay, so this is like last week's. I got to update it, which I usually do Sundays. I don't have the aces list. That must be the other one. I haven't done it yet. Here it is. There's my aces list. Texas, Perez, Yankees, Cortez, Cole, Toronto, Manoah, Gausman, Tampa Bay, McClanahan, Houston, Verlander, Valdez, Seattle, Gilbert, Cleveland, McKenzie, Bieber, the White Sox, Cease, although he didn't look good against the Tigers, Miami, Lopez, and Alcantara, who's pitching today, Musgrove, Burns from Milwaukee. So if I get, all right, so let's say I got Manoah for Toronto against Verlander. I play that under, but I'm not going to mess with it for 5 innings. Now, if I get Verlander playing some bullshit guy in the Tigers, yeah, he'll probably win the first 5. So you take the aces in the 5, but I don't know if it's better odds the first 5 versus the whole game or not. But to start betting the 3s and the 4s, the guys at the 3.5, 4, 4.5 ERAs, you got to be crazy. That's where I look at the bullpen, and I look at sides the pitchers against pitcher, and then the bullpens against bullpen 7 and over. You can get that on Yahoo. You can filter pitching over 7, and you can see all the pitchers' ERAs, and then you can see the pitching. So what you're looking for is the Verlander against the 5. You just jump on Verlander and bet him hard. He's like 12-3 this year. I think I only lost twice locking him. So that's, I guess, how you bet 5. Is it better odds? James, you'd have to tell me if it's better odds to bet Verlander for 5 innings or for 9 innings. I would take whatever the better odds is. That's how I would bet Verlander. Anyway, one more time, let's go through the games. Atlanta over 10. Tampa Bay, the Jets lock under 7. The White Sox over 8.5. Kansas City under 9. Milwaukee under 7.5. St. Louis under 8.5. Texas over 8.5. Houston over 8. The Dodgers, the Chargers under 7.5. Colorado over 9 is a lock, and the Yankees over 9. Well, the Yankee Boston over 9. So the 2 locks are the Jets under 7 and Colorado over 9. And then hit the Yankee. If you win those 2 and you're up, hit the Yankees over pretty hard, because with Boston, 2 good lineups. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these little videos. This way you don't have to watch the whole 81 that I showed you yesterday. However, it's very key. This is what's going on in the market. So I can tell you fundamentally, theoretically, with my background, this is what's happening. When it's exposed now on a channel, on a YouTube channel, the 2 guys talking about it, now it's getting exposed, and they're telling you, yes, there's a physical market being formed. We're getting out of COMEX. JP Morgan's dumping, which explains why gold and silver dumped so much last week. And forget the price of the COMEX. It's not real. I guess if you can find the price on the Shanghai market, which I don't know how to find, but I'll dig into it, that'll give you a more realistic physical price of gold and silver. And I guarantee you it's probably at least $1,000 to $2,000 higher for gold, and silver's probably $50, $60, maybe $100 an ounce. I'll have to check. I'll do that homework for everybody. But that's what it's saying. So it's finally here. Yes, it's been a good play since 08, well, since 71 when they took us off the gold standard. They started printing money, but that's when COMEX came in and it kept controlling it. And so that's why gold's so cheap. But that's why when you see it drop, it's a beautiful, for us, it's it's a lock. It's Verlander getting as a dog, right? That's how beautiful it is. It's the price is still low. When I go in, I laugh. I go to the coin shop. I go, it's the sale of the century. Gold at 1,800 an ounce. Thank you, God. 1,800 an ounce for a product that's at least 10 to 20,000, going to 50, and I'm picking it up for 1,800. And my girlfriends asked for money. And I need money. And I go, I bought gold and silver. And I showed them yesterday. I bought 20 ounces of silver. I bought this. Don't ask me for money now. Give it a year when this $27, $30 an ounce silver is 2,000. Then I got money. Then we'll all celebrate. But right now, I need the money to keep buying this because it's a lock. It's let's bet more money on Verlander. Let's bet more money on Verlander. We can't lose. The guy just doesn't lose. And that's what you want. So you want to keep that going. So that's why just buy as much as you can because it's about the top's about to burst open. And it will this time because you can see the perimeter guys going, yes, this is what's happening. The one guy with the beards from England, the other guy's from Texas. He's telling you what's going on in England and Europe. The other guy is Texas is he's more of an auditor. And I always kind of question, he's not an economist. I'm an economist, right? I'm not a salesman. I didn't sell stocks. And I'm guessing like some of these losers, Peter Schiff is a salesman. He's not an economist. He'll say he's an economist because it's hard to challenge when you're not an economist, what an economist says. That's why I teach you. Now, all of you are Austrian economists, and now everybody in my family here knows exactly what's going on and should be licking their lips going, oh, let me go buy some silver at $30 an ounce and empty the drawer. I know Nick has a hard time with gold, but keep buying the silver, Nick. That's fine. The silver will go through the roof too. 27 turns into 2,000 or 3,000. You're doing okay. So you don't have to buy gold, but you could buy gold if you can find it in quarters and dimes, quarters, and halves. Again, it's very hard to find. Like when I go to my guy, he only gets ounces, and he only has 7 or 8. And it's funny though, he'll sell the 7 or 8, and then he gets 7 or 8 more because he's got a few different stores, and they run out and they go, "Hey, Charlie, I need more gold." But he has a few, like 3 or 4 Maple Leafs, 3 or 4 Cougarons, and 3 or 4 Eagles. That's it. He had maybe 8, 9 gold, and they're all ounces. Had he had a quarter, I would have bought it. But it's hard because it's 19. In this case, it's $1,800 for an ounce. So it's not like you can every week just go spend $1,800. Although what kills me is I'll look at my bank account and go, shit, I'm low on money. And then I got to realize, no, it's all in gold and silver. So I've turned my money into gold and silver. And what I do, like I paid $35 for the silver yesterday. I market at $50. So in my spreadsheet, yeah, I took out $700, but really it's worth $1,000. So I made $300 yesterday, but I know I made a lot more. But that's how I look at it. So even though my bank account's a little bit low, it's really not because it's in gold and silver. It's in the Brady card. So I got a lot of money there. I like the gold and silver. Then the people going, well, what are you going to do with the gold? How are you going to go to Target with it? Well, it's going to be, they'll have different coins and different values of it. So it will be, well, you'll price it in gold. All right, this is a 1/10 of an ounce. This is a 1/4 of an ounce. It's not going to be $20. This is what people don't get. You're not going to sell, hamburger won't be $5 a pound. Hamburger will be a 1/10 of an ounce of gold or a 20th of an ounce of gold. And that's how you'll pay for it. And then you'll be able to get, I guess the banks or somebody will have, okay, I'm going to take my ounce and change it up for me as if it's $100 bill. What do you do with the $100 bill? You go to a $100 bill, and what happens? You go buy a steak for $10 and all you got's 100. What do? they give you back $90. So you'll go with the quarter ounce, and they're going to give you back a bunch of smaller denominated gold, and that will be how you get change, just like they make change now. They won't have dollars because nobody wants them anymore. So it's just obsolete. We're moving to the next currency. And look what happened with the Germans in the 30s, right? They hyperinflated their marks, and then they came out with new currency until Hitler stole all the gold from all the countries in Europe, which was World War II was really a gold heist, like 9/11 was a gold heist. And so that's what happened. So eventually new money will come out. It's not like we're going to be sitting here without money. You're going to get paid differently. You're going to have a different thing. Whatever the new currency will be is what we'll use. So if you make $90,000 at your job, you're going to make the equivalent in new currency, digital currency, or the USD2, or like the ruble. This is the 7th ruble. This one's backed by gold and silver, and a commodity so it's backed by substance. And that's what will happen. You'll come out with a new currency. Your 90,000 turns into 50,000 of the new currency, but then everything's, now a house isn't 400 grand, it's 100 grand. A car went from 25 grand to 7 grand. And that's how it all gets adjusted. That's why when you look at old movies, even a Seinfeld episode from the 90s, blueberries, 29 cents a pound. They didn't get more expensive. That's how badly the dollar got inflated. So when you see a 1980 or a 1990 movie and things were cheap, gas, 29 cents a gallon, that's because that's what the dollar bought you. And that's what we'll go back to with this new currency. But if they don't back it with gold or silver, it's going to go out anyway. So keep that in mind. If it's not backed, it's still worthless. You still don't want it. You still want gold and silver. However, you're going to buy it in the new currency. So it'll be priced in the new currency. But eventually, gold and silver will be, I have an ounce of gold. I'm going to walk into a Mercedes dealership and buy the car with the ounce of gold. That's what the ounce of gold will do. It'll buy you a new Mercedes. 2 ounces will buy you a $500,000 house. That's how it will work. This is what gold will buy. And the reason you'll get it is because the guy will not take dollars, right? You want $300,000 for your house that, by the way, they're going to be worthless in about 6 months because of the Briggs system, where China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, India, Brazil doesn't want the US dollar. And now that's up to 55 countries that do not want the US dollar. If they had their druthers, they'd all buy silver and gold. And take it what's happening in Sri Lanka. They're rioting now because they're basically broke. Nobody wants their currency. So if you want to know what's going to happen, take a look at Sri Lanka. Their money's worthless. They can't fill their car with oil, and they can't get food because they don't have any exchange. That's what's going to happen. That's why you need gold and silver, because you got gold and silver. You can walk into wherever you want in Sri Lanka and you'll get whatever you want, because that will be what is the new. That is always money, right? Or like in that one movie where the guy walked in with the Yao Ming refractor and he got 4 new tires. It had value. It wasn't money, but it had value. You walk in with your Tom Brady card or your Mickey Mantle card, you'll be able to get whatever you want, because whoever's selling it will realize that's an asset. I'll buy it. You just got to get it down to the right price and work it. But that's what's happening. So take a look at Sri Lanka. It's on YouTube. There's a bunch of riots going on. People are freaking out. There's no money. There's no food. There's no gas. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. And they're protesting. And the guy in charge is like running away. Now it's going to happen to Japan, so keep your eye on Japan. The yen is 136 to 1. What does that mean? It's gone. It takes 136 yen to buy one freaking dollar. Our dollar is about as bad as you can get and still wink, wink, we have a value, which is bullshit. The only reason you go to Target or you go anywhere and you can use your money is because legally they have to. The government says to Target, you must take US dollars. Now, we might pay with a debit or a credit card, or we might pay with a $100 bill, but they have to take it legally. They can go to jail if they don't take our money. Also, just a little tidbit, the employer must take payroll taxes out of your check. If they don't, they can go to prison. They have to, because if you actually got your full check and then you had to pay taxes on it, there'd be a riot, because you'd realize if you make $1,000 and you take home 800, you're just used to you go, oh, okay, I make 800. But if you actually got your 1,000 and then they said, well, you owe 200 in taxes, you'd say, why? I just earned $1,000. There shouldn't even be taxes anyway, because it's barter, which means you come in and I come in and do finance and you're going to pay me. It's not income. Why are you taxing me on it? I'm doing a service and they're paying me for it. There's no tax. I'm ready to just give me gold on the side for the work. Give me silver. You know what? Give me an ounce of gold for my week, and I'd be very happy that way. And there wouldn't be tax because it wouldn't hit anything. But anyway, so that's what will happen. There'll be a new currency that'll come out, but if it's not backed by gold and silver, it's going to be the same bullshit, go to zero, and you're going to go broke. So be very careful. Your stocks are going to zero because the companies are not going to be able to afford to pay the extra cost on the inflation. You cannot sell this cup. You can sell it for $10. If my costs go to 15, I cannot sell it for 20. I got to go out of business. So the Bellagio will not make that cup anymore. It's going to hurt sales. It's going to hurt profits. And that's what's going to happen. So nobody will make profits. Why would you own stock in a company that's losing money or making very little? Most companies will lose money. So the stock market will crash. It's being held up anyway by these JP Morgans. JP Morgan will go out as the banks will go out with all this derivative bullshit that they've been fucking around with and hurting the price of gold so they can make a few dollars on the IFCOM bet of, well, I know what you're doing. So they take your information. Oh, they see your trade. He's buying. Okay, we'll sell it to him. Oh, he's selling. Okay, we'll do it. And so they don't care what the price is. They just want the action, like a bookie. So that's what's happening. So here, the stock market is not a place to be. Housing, you're seeing it now. Interest rates go up. What's going to happen? Nobody can afford it. The price is too high. The price will have to come down. If you need money, you're holding an asset, you sell it. It's nice to not have to sell your house if you got another way around. But if you need to sell your house, or maybe you own 2 or 3 of them, and there's no buyers, then it's going to drop. Now, it's weird because in inflation, the housing prices go up, but I think that's already happened. So you're holding your $200,000 house, and now it's worth $400,000. That's the inflation. It takes more dollars to buy your house, but now you're getting the interest rate part of it, and now it's worth more, but I can't sell it because there's no buyers because now the interest rate has pushed the cost up. I got to lower the price to sell the house. So going from 200 to 400 was the inflation, and now going down is because the interest rates made the cost higher, and therefore people cannot afford the payment until I lower it to equilibrium, this is what I can afford for this house, which is probably back to the 200 or 150. Yes, a house is an asset. Land is not necessarily an asset. People think it's an asset. It's not. Only if you put a golf course on it because Caesar's Palace on it or Mirage on it, then it's worth something. So if you bought the sand next to Caesar's in the 60s and they popped the Mirage on it, you made a lot of money. But if you put it 100 yards to the west and they didn't build anything on it, it ain't worth anything. So keep that in mind. Your best bet's gold and silver. It's very easy to get. You can buy little chunks you can buy $30 for an ounce of silver, or you know 18, 19 for Maple Leafs and Cougarons yesterday for an ounce. You kidding me? And I don't even get upset that I paid $19.50 for other gold. I don't care. I have gold. I got more ounces. Happy times. For my new people, let's go through baseball one more time because I know people get on for the picks. Atlanta over 10, Tampa Bay. The Jets under 7 is a lock. The White Sox over 8.5, KC under 9, Milwaukee under 8.5, Cardinals under 8.5, Texas over 8.5, Houston over 8, the Dodgers, Chargers under 7.5, Colorado over 9 is the second lock, and if both those hit, play the Yankees over 9 tonight, pretty strong. So that's the baseball. In case you're here for the baseball, I know I get mixed company. Some people want the picks. Football season's a little different. And the reason I'm talking stocks and the economy is I know most people haven't been taught that. And with what's going on, we need to know. Was that Jets in football? No, I have fun. So I call the New York Mets the New York Jets. And so the lock is the New York Mets in baseball. But I do that. The Chargers, we all know it's San Diego. If I call the Tampa Bay the Buccaneers, we know what it is because we're a very strong football family. And so if I say the Jets, it's New York and it ain't the Yankees. So it's the Mets. So that's me having fun with that, but just keep that open, James. And I don't know if the Jets game's already started. It's 2:00. I know a lot started 1:30, 1:45. And I know there's a lot at 3 and 4, more on the middle and West Coast. Anyway, so that's what's happening. So you got to keep that in mind. So why the videos of the other show is to just show you this is what's being talked about in the more out now. They don't get a lot of views. They don't million views. People don't want to talk about gold and silver. They think it's, I'll be at poker and I'll tell you, I brought a silver coin as one of my good luck pieces last week. And I have it out and nobody mentions it. And if I bring up, where do you have your money? Oh, it's in Bitcoin or on the stock market, because nobody knows. And they just listen to their financial advisor who makes money selling stocks. He doesn't make money selling gold. And see, nobody makes money selling gold. That's the other problem with it. But if you're in Russia, China, or India, you don't need anybody telling you to buy gold. They know to buy gold. That's what they do. So keep that in mind. That's what's happening. And really, you'll see it bottom out a little more this week as JP Morgan does settle out their derivatives, and the other 3 mass banks who control it all know they're in trouble and are all dumping. So it might go down a little bit more. But as the gentleman said in the beginning on that first video I showed you, don't pay any attention to COMEX. Look at the Shanghai exchange, which I will try to find. It's not easy because I don't want to tell you about it. So it's all fixed with COMEX and US dollar, and that's the way to go. And so you got to do some digging. I'll do some digging and I'll find it. I did have a few people who wanted that JP Morgan article about the guys that are convicted they're on trial for price fixing. You can see Soros is behind all of it. And you can see that. So if anybody wants that, I do have that link to the story, which basically says these guys are being convicted of price fixing gold and silver, which I knew, because there's no way in the market, if the dollar's worth less, everything goes up. Gold and silver should go up. And with all the inflation, now, why do I say 50,000 or 2,000 for gold? Because I know COMEX is not real. So let's ignore the 20 or the $30 an ounce. Let's just ignore it because it's not real. So when you say, well, 200, but it's not real. So let's get that out of your mind. When you add $9 trillion in cash and you divide it by a few ounces of silver, if you just took US dollars, 9 trillion divided by, I don't know, whatever silver, you come out with $2,000 or $3,000 per ounce per dollar. That's how I come up with it. Same with gold. $50,000 gold is the same thing. You keep in mind, you added $9 trillion and you're adding more monthly. So as you add more dollars and then you do your division, so if it's 100 divided by 10 is 10, but if it's 1,000 divided by 10, it's 100. Now, if it's a million divided by a 10, it's 100,000 or more. And that's why I come up with my numbers, is because they keep printing and they're going to have to divide it out. And that's where it comes up with. I'm sorry, was the Jets under or you took the Jets to win? The Jets are under 7. So no problem, James. Yeah, that's why I repeat them. I try to, so just say the Mets under 7, and if you can still get it, it's 209. I don't know when time the game starts, but yeah. So again, the locks, the Mets under 7 and Colorado over 9, and if both win, then bet fairly large Yankees over 9, but don't give back a winner. I teach winning here, not betting. We're not betting. We're not gambling. We're trying to win. And so if you bet your units, and then when you get up, so you're up $2,000 in football. We come into Sunday, and we don't want to bet 2,000 because we want to make sure we win, right? It's hard to win 2,000 in college, but we won it. So we want to maybe play 1,000 Sunday, but play a little bit at 1 o'clock and a little bit at 4 o'clock. Then you get to the Sunday night game. Now, if you're up 1,500, bet 500 on the Sunday night game, and very little. You are going to quit the week a winner. You are not going to lose. Once you're up $2,000, you are not losing for that week. It's important to win every week. If you win even 500 a week, and there's 20 weeks, you've won 10 grand. If you just win 500 a week, but if you get up, the last thing I want anybody to do is bet they're up 2 grand and bet 2,500 on the Sunday night game and lose, and then cry, oh, I lost it all in the Sunday night game and I'm down now. Dude, you're up 2 grand. What are you freaking doing? We are not here to gamble. We are here to win. This is what Teaser King does. And if you notice, if you check my history, I think I won like 40 grand last year. That's what I did. But I got really hot in college, really hot with Georgia and Miami, and hit all the bowl games, 8-8, 8-0 for the locks. And that made me quite a bit of money, but I found them and I stumbled on them. You just teaches me something new. Okay. Most people don't know how to gamble and gamble to gamble because it's exciting. But when you really ask yourself, why are you gambling? I'm gambling to win. I go play poker and I win, and I'll quit even up $10 or $20. If I'm down $200 and I win a hand and I win a hand and I get up and now I'm up $30, I'll play one more hand and then I walk away up 20. And people are, what are you doing? I won. I was down 200. I won $20. I'll get them next time. Or maybe I'll play another. If I'm in Vegas, I'll play 3-4 sessions a day. So it's each session I'm trying to win. But at the end of the day, if I win each session, I'm a winner. I'm not playing to gamble. I am playing to win. That's what we do. That's how you're a winner. You do it in stock market. You do it with gold and silver. As I said, my Toyota guy, I don't like teasing my picks anymore. Only 3 games is the most I will do now. Are you talking football teasing? Because I've hit some 11-game teasers. It's like, how do I come up with a lock? Like, why did I take the Jets under 7? It's because the 2 pitchers were aces. And there's not going to be a lot of runs scored against 2 aces, right? Well, in football, if I see the right combo, I take it. But if I have that one year, there was 10 strong games. I locked all 10. I won all 10. So don't put a price on it. Why don't you like teasing? You don't like teasing any more than 3 games. Don't put a comment on it. If you see 5 good games to tease in the bowl games, if you would have bet my locks, I had 8 locks. They went 8-0. You could have played an 8-team teaser and you would have won. And they were all locks. So it's not, in that case, you want to play an 8-team. Now you might play it small. My 11 team teaser, I think I put $20 on it. I'm not going to put 1,000 on a 11 game teaser. I put more on it. I think I played it as a 3-team teaser. I think I had it in a 6 or 7-team teaser, and then I played it in a 10 and an 11, and it was smaller in a 10 and 11, and I won it. I won it all. I brought back a stack of bets. That way, it was Christmas week when Florida State won the title. I had bet at least 50 tickets. I had won 50 tickets. Every ticket won. I couldn't believe it. I'm there going, well, let's see. One. Because I kept playing the same, like Michigan State in the Rose Bowl 3 times. UCLA over Virginia Tech 3 times. Florida State 5 times. And, and then it was, Brady had to win to be the 1 seed. Manning had to win to be the 2 seed. And it was just lined up so perfectly. And they all did it, right? Brady won by 10, 14 covered, Manning covered, whatever else I had, all covered. Lost at the teaser last year in the Euro New Orleans Bowl with Marshall versus Louisiana Lafayette. I had Marshall plus 13.5, our 14. They lost by 2 or 3 points. I'm not following. You had Marshall plus 13, you would have won. If they only lost by 2 or 3, or you're saying you lost the bet by 2 or 3. Okay, so what does that have to do with anything? Obviously, you didn't have the Teaser Kings picks because I would have given you 8 locks that all won, including Alabama, Michigan under, and Georgia, Michigan under lock, Georgia, Alabama under lock, and we had Baylor lock, Oklahoma State lock. It was beautiful. Well, I know. Well, you won't make that mistake again. And look at my history. If you go to www.teaserking.com, there's a history tab, and I put all my picks on it, so you can see what I did in the bowls. Did you go over week 0 in college football? No. What I do is I got a magazine, and I look at quarterbacks and coaches. So one of the things was Louisiana Tech. I see they got a new coach who was Mike Leach's assistant at Texas Tech. He's going to run the air raid. So we're going to be over on Louisiana Tech when the spread's right. So if the spread's 75, we're not going to go over. But we see some 50s, and they're playing teams with weak defenses like Rice. That's going to be an over all day long. Well, thank you. I have had lots of experience, and I ask why. So I learn why I win and why I lose, and I'm pretty smart, and I'm pretty analytical, and I'm a good problem solver. So you can see I've analyzed gold and silver, and I understand it, and I know why it's going to go up. And I give you that information, and I do the same for football. We're going to bet Miami of Florida over because of Van Dyke, because of the quarterback. We're going to bet Georgia under probably because we'll see what their defense looks like. Clemson, we're going to lock under almost every week because they have a very strong defense and no quarterback. So I give you the reason for the bet. That's why I win. And then when it loses, like yesterday's baseball, I talked about Philadelphia over 8.5. You got a 5 ERA pitcher going against a 4.5 ERA pitcher. Well, they're going to score a lot of runs, 2 lousy pitchers. It's 2-1 or 1-9. I mean, it was like a ridiculous score. And I start looking at the box score, like what the hell happened here? And the 5 pitchers pitched shutouts for 6 innings. You're like, what the fuck? How do you have a 5 ERA and go shut out a team? So that's what I learned. So I'm like, so today I went under with St. Louis because obviously neither team's hitting against the 5 pitchers. So today I think there was better pitchers going on. So I took it under using that sort of logic. Well, thank you, James. I do very well. I win a lot of money betting football. I do the show. I try to teach and help people. That's why I'm here. Because I hate when they say, well, if you're so good, why do you write a book? If you're so good, why do you sell your picks? Well, because I want to teach. And that's why. Because when you learn what I know and you start making your own money, and I get that with Nick. Nick will sit there and go, I like this game. I like that game. and we compare notes. And then so I'm teaching him what to do. He wanted to start off with formulas. And I go, you cannot formula football. So that's the first thing you realize. There are too many variables to formula, and you need to know what variables are important and which ones aren't. And these algorithms and all this bullshit that they're, with baseball and this whole crap doesn't work. Baseball doesn't work when you want the guy to hit foul balls and walk. Okay, eventually you're going to have second and third and 2 outs, tying run on second, and you need a hit. But you got a guy who's hitting 120, but he walks a lot. The pitcher's not going to walk him. The guy can't hit, and you lose. That's the problem with Moneyball. It's got to be good hitters. Anyway, yes, I'm studying football, study some more. I'm up to the Mid-America Conference. Just looking right now at quarterback and coaches. So when I do get a new coach, I kind of look at his background. Oh, he's a Mike Leach descendant. Oh, he's a Nick Saban. He's a defensive guy. And then I look at the quarterback. He transferred. JT Daniels went from USC to Georgia. He sucked at USC. He sucked at Georgia. And now he's on somebody else. And I noted that, oh, no, this is JT Daniels. He sucks. So we'll note that. I think he's on a Conference USA team, like Western. I think he's on Western Kentucky. And then I'm noticing quarterbacks switching. And the one I was surprised at is Slovis from USC. I thought he was good. He was a Kurt Warner disciple. He went to the Kurt Warner camp. Kurt Warner taught him, and he lit up USC. And now he transferred because they're now Oklahoma West, and so now we're going to go Oklahoma over. We're going to go USC over like they're Oklahoma. Strong passing offense, no defense. And really their passing offense is not a passing offense. It's run everybody deep so my fast quarterback can run around and gain yards. So it's really a running quarterback system. Just spy the quarterback and he won't gain anything. JT's with, okay, there you go. So we'll be betting against West Virginia because he sucks. I mean, the guy in Georgia who beat him out was not that good of a quarterback. He did look good, and I do like him. The kid now on Georgia who won the title, but JT Daniels was like a 5. It was much better, and yet this guy so outplayed JT Daniels, it was a joke. So West Virginia, there's going to be a lot of turnovers. You're not going to – if they're a big favorite, we're gonna tease the dog on it. So that's what you bet the quarterback in football. You just like you bet the pitcher in baseball. So you look for the Verlander and you look for the McCullough and you look for the Greinke's and the Kershaws in football. And you got Rodgers and you got Brady, and in college we got Van Dyke at Miami, our buddy, and that's what you really look for, and that's who you bet on. You always you bet Joe Namath, you would bet, sometimes you get the team like the Packers or the Steelers. I watch old Steeler games in the 70s, and Bradshaw sucked. He threw so many bad passes. That one Super Bowl, the passes were so bad. Swan had to make all these acrobatic catches because the passes weren't even close. And then in the Rams Super Bowl, those two to Stallworth is breaking his back to catch the ball because the pass is terrible. So you didn't really bet Bradshaw there. You more bet the team, right? They had such a great team. That's who you bet on. But good luck trying to find that now. It's so expensive. I have San Diego money line today and Reds under 8. Your thoughts, San Diego? I played San Diego under 7.5. Let's take a look. San Diego, you got Wood for Frisco, 5-7 with a 4.83 against Mackenzie Gore, 4-3 with a 3.18. So now the question is, let's take a look at the bullpen because neither pitcher's probably going to go 5, maybe 6. San Diego has a 3.80 bullpen, so that's pretty decent, I guess. San Francisco's bullpen's a 4.08. So if it gets close, San Francisco is going to let up runs. San Diego probably a little bit. San Diego, the game is at home, so San Diego hits a whopping 225 at home, and Frisco hits a whopping 230. that's why it should be an under game. I don't know. Is Mackenzie Gore this great pitcher at home? I really don't know him. Superficially, yeah, it should be okay. I think the bullpen's a little bit better for San Diego, their starting pitcher, but again, it's a hard one. Reds under 8. Cincinnati. Let's see, who are they playing? I probably they're playing. Let's see, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's playing Tampa Bay. It looks like that game already started, but my thoughts on it. I played Tampa Bay. I don't remember the pitchers now, but they had an ace going, Tampa Bay. You played it under 8. Yeah, that should be a good under. Cincinnati doesn't hit. Tampa Bay sometimes hits, sometimes doesn't, but you got an ace going for Tampa. So when I play a team, I'm betting on the ace. I took Tampa today. That was my play. I thought was better. Will it stay under? It could stay under 8. So I think you're okay with both your picks. But again, it's hard because you're betting averages and it's difficult. Like I said, with the Philadelphia game, should have went over. It was 1-0, and you're like, how the hell is this happening? So that's what's happening. But in football, so you're looking sometimes at the team, sometimes the quarterback. You played Peyton Manning more than Indianapolis. Tony Dungy was a terrible coach. Well, we've won. We're 12-0. Let's sit everybody out the next 2 weeks, and then we got to bye. So everybody's going to be extremely rusty for the playoff game that we're going to lose to Pittsburgh because we haven't played ball in 4 weeks because everybody now is healthy. And probably in the first quarter, you had 25 pulled hamstrings because nobody played. This is football. You play your players. Maybe you sit them out the fourth quarter if you're up 28-0, but you don't rest players because if you rest them 1 week and they get a bye, that's 3 weeks off. You cannot do that in football, especially with passing teams, running teams, maybe. That's why the bowl games are always tougher because the timing's off. So you play defense and running in the bowl games more. Look at Georgia, Michigan. That game was beautiful under. Although Georgia was not going to lose to anybody. And I still think they laid down for Alabama to get in the playoff. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Week 0, NCAA game 1, Nevada 12.5 versus New Mexico State. Nebraska 12.5 versus Northwestern. Wyoming versus Illinois. Charlotte versus Florida Atlanta. Yeah, I can't answer those questions at this time. I have to study. I will not give out a pick if I don't study it. I know Nevada lost their quarterback. New Mexico State's got a new coach, so we'll see what that. We got to see what Nevada's new quarterback is. Nebraska has a new quarterback, and they switched offensive coordinators. Northwestern just sucks, but Nebraska doesn't lay 12.5 often. We'll see. Wyoming versus Illinois. Illinois -10. I got to study both teams. Illinois has a new quarterback. I think it's the Syracuse transfer. So the kid Dogie was at Bowling Green, and he was the superstar. Then he goes to Syracuse with the coach, and he sucked. And now he's at Illinois. So what does that tell you about the quarterback? Charlotte versus Florida Atlantic. I know the coach isn't there anymore. Charlotte, I think, has Reynolds. I think Coastal Carolina has my man McCall. So, you're going to bet McCall. Reynolds is a good quarterback also. But I can't answer those questions now. I have to study that. I have a process. So my process is study the team. Then I got to study the game. So I got to still learn. I think I did Charlotte and Florida Atlantic briefly yesterday. I haven't been to Wyoming yet. And I don't think I've been to Nevada yet. So I gotta look at that. And again, that's the thing. If they get a transfer versus a new quarterback, and I note that freshman quarterback, and we're betting against most freshman quarterbacks. North Texas versus UTEP, and Vanderbilt versus Hawaii. UTEP's pretty good, actually. Vanderbilt versus Hawaii, I don't know. That's all week 0 games. I'll have to study week 0 games, but are they all these weak teams, or are there any strong teams? So I like betting any team that I can win with, but I want consistency. Only bet 2 single bets or 3. Well, I don't know. It depends. It depends what I find. I could find 5 games in there. Or I could find 1 game. Usually I find always every week there's at least 10 games I find once the season's going and I understand the teams. I start getting the stats. I can see, like Clemson, we're going to bet under in Clemson every game. 6 All-Americans on defense, and the quarterback sucks. And they're running the ball. So they're going to play Navy, Army football. They're going to run and play defense. That's under City. The unders won't even get to 30. But I can't help you right now, James, because I don't know. And I won't give out a tip. I don't pull tips out of the air. I study. So I can't help you. Yeah, he's still why the coach stays with him is beyond me. Look at Miami yesterday. Last year they stayed with what was it, De'Aaron King, and he sucked. And they got killed. I mean, they lost to Michigan State, and they barely beat App State. And then week 4, he goes to Van Dyke, and all of a sudden 40, 50 points a game. Well, you had Van Dyke sitting there. Why didn't you play him? Why didn't you know he was a good quarterback? What are you doing in practice that you're not seeing this guy light it up? Well, let's waste 3 games and then we'll go to Van Dyke. Miami could have went to the playoffs because they wouldn't have lost. I don't know if they played Clemson, but they were a very good team. Now, Cristobal comes in, a new coach who used to play there, was the Oregon coach, and you hope he doesn't fuck up the offense. Leave it alone. Let Van Dyke put up 45 a game. You work on the defense. Then, if the defense becomes very good, we go from under Miami to Miami. And that's when we start betting Miami instead of the under, is when you got them like a Georgia, like an Alabama. Like Alabama, we bet Alabama. We don't fuck around with the unders because they can score 50 points. We more or less fuck around with the overs when they play a good team. But when they play Georgia, we're locking it under. Miami quarterback's the number 1 quarterback, in my opinion. They'll come out with, let's take the Alabama quarterback because he went to Alabama. I hate that. Anybody who plays for Alabama is good. No, none of the players who get drafted out of Alabama do anything in the pros. Julio Jones and a couple of receivers. Most of the receivers don't do anything. The little fast guys all get injured. They're not winners at all there. And I like the coach from Miami. He turned around Oregon. We'll see. I'm not a big Cristobal fan, but I know he played at Miami. I'd rather see Jimmy Johnson at Miami again. He's the guy that I bought a house with Jimmy Johnson. He made me so much money. But again, that's the Teaser King being smart enough to see Jimmy Johnson and go, this guy I want to bet on. And when he beat Notre Dame by 100 points, it was bet on him, and I was betting on him. I had him. First time I bet on Miami was 84 against Nebraska. I had 14 points without the teaser. I teased it to 20. I had $2,000 on the game in the 80s, which was a lot of money, and they won the game straight out. And it was Howard Schnellenberger and Bernie Kosar, and that's when I just bet Miami. Boom. See, that's what you're looking for, is a team like that. Well coached, good talent, good quarterback. It's hard to find it. And what makes betting football hard now is this transfer portal. When these guys switch teams, it's like, like I was telling you, the doggy was at Bowling Green. He goes to Syracuse, and now he's at Illinois. And you're like, shit. Because it takes time to learn the chemistry of the team. You can't just switch teams. It's not baseball where the guy's just pitching. I'm a quarterback. I got to learn the offense. I got to learn the receivers and the backs. Are they running the same offense? That's why. So just the transfer doesn't mean anything. And that's the problem. So you end up where it's who the fuck knows what you got for at least 3 or 4 games. So we won't know. Illinois might be a great team this year with Dougie, but maybe not, because maybe it won't mesh. Maybe he doesn't like that offense. That's why it's hard to draft. You've got to draft the quarterback that fits your system. And that's the problem with the NFL. They need to switch the system for the quarterback they drafted, not the other way around. It's like the shift in baseball. If a lefty's up and I've shifted everybody on the right side and I pitch him outside and he just sticks his bat out and hits a ground ball down the third baseline for a double, what the hell are you shifting for if you're going to pitch him outside or pitch him a slider away? What are you doing? Because I can stick my bat out. I can hit major league pitching. I just do this. It's not hard to see the ball and just go do that. I'm going to get a hit. I can hit the ball every time. It's not hard. That's how you hit girls fast pitch. I was a girls fast pitch coach. That's how I hit. The girl throws 65 miles an hour. It's like in 7th grade, and I would just stand up there and she'd pitch it, and I'd go, because it came in just straight in, and I'd just go and I'd meet it. I'd make a little swing like that, and I'd hit it every time. It's not hard, and you don't worry about the speed. But that's what they do. So you got to be smart. So these NFL coaches are idiots. They all run the same damn offense. So the defense, a moron could do the defense because it's the same. It's going to be a wide receiver screen. It's going to be a bubble screen. It's going to be the motion over the middle. It's so stupid. But that's what you got to do. You've got to, if we're going to draft Van Dyke from Miami, we better run Miami's offense because he's very successful in that offense. We have to figure it out and adjust our offense to the Miami offense so he will be successful. Otherwise, if he's successful in the Miami offense and we draft him number 1 and we don't run that offense, he's going to be a Mitch Trubisky, or he's going to be Sam Darnold, who sucks, or Josh Rosen. He was good at UCLA, but then if you don't run UCLA's system, you look like an idiot. You've got to get a coordinator with the system and get the quarterback who fits the system. And if he doesn't fit it, you've got to change your system around. That system's got to work for the players you have. You can't say, this is the system we're going to use. That's what I laugh about. It's like these teams are so stupid. They'll run, we brought in like the Lions. Every 2 years, they bring in new coaches who suck, who've never coached before. Then they wonder why they keep losing. And then they go, well, we've got to rebuild. No, you don't. You've got to get, for the players you've got to run the offense and defense. You've already got the players. These are NFL players. These guys were good in college. They're good pros. You don't need any other players. You've got your players. You've got to make the system that will work for those players. That's how you're a good coach. That's how Lombardi won. That's how Shula won. It's ironic with Shula. He won with Zanka, and then he went to Marino, and he never won again because he never ran the ball, he stole that from the Packers, who ran the ball and played defense. That's what the Dolphins did in the early 70s. They ran the ball and played defense and won 2 Super Bowls. And the only team that could beat him was Oakland with the little passing, and then they blew up, and then Shula got Marino 10 years later, and he couldn't win. But it's shown. That's what the Packers did. That's what the Steelers did. That's what the Bears did. That's what the 49ers did with Montana. It was a running offense with a great defense. That's how Brady won. Brady only won when he had great defenses. He never won with a weak defense. So you have to have a great defense. All it is the system. You get the players in. Okay, this is the system we're running. This works. And it's dumbed down that you're pros. You can tackle. This is the system. So this bullshit of, well, we got to get new players in. Well, you've got pros there. Come on, or go draft. Just go draft out of LSU, Georgia. I couldn't believe teams didn't take Georgia. Like, why didn't they take the Georgia linebacker? Here, the Lions, as bad as they are, needing defense, they didn't draft one Georgia guy. It's like, okay, that's pretty much a no-brainer. 10 of them got drafted. You had 2 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks, and you didn't draft one guy out of Georgia. You should all be fired. Anyway, that's me noticing they suck again. Anyway, so that's football. Baseball's a little harder. We're going by averages and going by pitching. You really can't go by hitting. Football, you can kind of go, they got a big offense, like Oklahoma, USC this year, Alabama. They got a big offense. Only a Georgia is going to shut them down, but a Georgia will shut them down as they did in the championship game. And that's what you got to notice. But you got to have a really strong defense to shut them down. Otherwise, they're going to score. And but in baseball, you could have, look at the Yankees. I remember we were talking when Verlander was facing them a couple of weeks ago, and I locked Houston. And people are giving me flack going, well, the Yankees score a lot. And I go, not against Verlander. And Verlander shut them out. It was 2-0. I either locked Verlander or I locked the under. Either way, it won. And that was the comment I made. You cannot hit a good pitcher. And that's the difference in baseball. That's why you look at pitchers. You get good pitchers, they're not hitting you. Now, if you have your ace going against their ace, then you lock the game under, like I did with the Jets Mets today. It was ace against ace. We're locking it under. They'll be lucky to get the 2-1. I mean, that should be the final. Anyway, I'm going to go hit the pool before it gets too late. It's funny how on Sundays the pool closes at like 4:30 for some reason. So I got to get going. But anyway, very nice show. Thank you very much for attending. I hope you learned a lot. Those little videos are just to kind of ease your confidence. Well, Teaser King told the professor, he told us about it. Now there's more people that know about it. I'm the economist. That's the difference. I'm an economist. I'm not a salesman. The guys you heard today, the one guy's an auditor, so I don't know what he knows about it, but he does know about it, but he's not an economist. And the other guy is an economist with the beard from England. Those guys are economists. The other guys are salesmen, and they just want you to buy gold and silver. They can't. When you see a guy say, look at the chart and look at the charts about to break loose, what are you looking at? You just heard COMEX is not a real fucking price. So what are you charting? What part of this are you charting that COMEX is not a real price? It's just derivative market to get the banks to make money. So how can you possibly look at that and chart it going, here it goes. So anytime you hear a guy charting gold and silver, immediately give him a negative and turn it off and don't listen, because you're going to get bad advice and they don't know what they're talking about. Do you ever hear me with a chart? Because Austrian economics does not use charts, it's theories. Supply and demand, it's price and market, it's whiskey and paper and all that. That's economics, real economics. They don't want to teach you that, because then it's freedom and you're free. If you listen to me and you do what I say with the gold and the silver, after you go, yeah, that makes sense, or you buy the mantle cards, that's all freedom. You're going to be free. You're going to be rich. You're going to be, you're not going to be in Sri Lanka or in Japan going, we're fucked. So that's what you have to realize is you need assets. So buy your gold, especially your silver now. You can $30 an ounce. So what? 10 ounces is $300. Everybody's got $300. And just keep in mind, you'd rather have it in gold and silver than in cash. So you want your bank account at $4,000 or $5,000, unless you're not working and you need to pay your bills. So you might want 8 or 9 months of rent until you get back to work. But basically, if you're working and you got it, you want $5,000-6,000 in the bank. And then as you get over it, it's okay, let's go buy gold and silver and tell the girlfriends and the wives, the kids, you get money later. When this goes up, when my gold goes from 1,800, 1,900 to 10,000, then we'll talk about you can have some money. Until then, I need the money for that, because these are no-brainers where I know this is all going up based on what I just showed you on these videos and what I teach you a lot lately, just because it's very, very poignant now in the news. This is what is happening. So it's here. That's why I'm spending a lot of time on it. I want to make sure that we get it. All right, everybody, have a good day. Good luck on the baseball people. James, football, I will be doing week 1 in a little bit. Right now, I'm still looking at college. I'll probably be done today with the quarterbacks and coaches. Then I'll start writing it up, and then I'll start looking at last year's scores. But if you get a new coach, you kind of throw it out. So like Michigan and Ohio State, I can basically keep, they averaged this much. They had a great defense. They still do. Georgia, they're going to tweak a little bit. Clemson, what are they going to do? Probably a very good under. Go Army, my team. That's my team. Go Army. Great offense, great defense, great coach. All right, everybody, have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. www.teaserking.com. Get my email me. I'll be happy to talk about baseball, football, and that whole JP Morgan, those guys in trial, going to prison, or any else, Sri Lanka, Japan, not a problem. You're welcome, James. All right. Have a great day.